Good morning. I hope you are all well. And today we're going to be reading once again from the Same Choices magazine. This is Choices, and it says here, I can only see my mom twice a year. If you look down here on this corner, you will see that it's March 20. If you flip it to the side, you will read that it is volume 35, number 6. So let's open it and let's go to pages 12 and 13. We're going to read Our Guide to Being an Introvert in an Extroverted World. Real quick, an introvert is someone who is kind of withdrawn. They're not outgoing. They might just sit back. They don't usually add much to a conversation, whereas an extrovert is somebody who's very outgoing. A lot of times we would say they're up front and center, all eyes on me. That would be an extrovert. And then there's an ambivert. And an ambivert, Ambivert, is someone who's a balance of being an introvert and an extrovert. Sometimes it feels like being super social, outspoken, and self promoting are the personality traits people value most. Think about the Kardashians or your favorite YouTube star. But what if you're quiet? You're low key. Take the quiz to the right to see if you're an introvert, an extrovert, or an ambivert. We'll explain those words later so you can understand your social style and play to your strengths. So let's look at the first column here in the yellow. This is column A. Is this you? At parties, I tend to sit back and people watch. For my birthday, I prefer a small celebration with a few close friends. Before I do something, I tend to think about it a lot and weigh the pros and cons. Next one says, after a busy day, I like to kick back and chill. I find it hard to join conversations. My motto is privacy, please, or are you the green column? At parties, I'm usually right in the mix talking to everyone. Every celebration should be a big, crazy Kardashian style blowout. I usually make decisions in the moment. Are you somebody who says, after a busy day, I want to connect with friends and talk, talk, talk? Are you the person who says, I never hesitate to speak up in groups? Do you have the motto, ask me anything? So which one were you? If you're mostly A's, you're probably an introvert. Being quiet is a big part of who you are, and that isn't a bad thing. Extroverts might not understand that you can keep to yourself and be perfectly happy. If you're mostly B's, you're probably an extrovert. You're outgoing, you're interacting with others, and that makes you feel alive. If you are a mix of both A and B, you're an ambivert. It's not unusual to have introverted and extroverted qualities. Your personality might change depending on the situation. So, what does it matter? Turn the page to get advice about how to navigate some common but tricky social stressors. If you're an introvert, how to make life easier for quieter people if you're an extrovert, or a little bit of both. If you're somewhere in between, let's see about the stress. The top of 14, the stress. I really want to do social things like go to parties, but I hate having to be on all the time. The flex, explain how you feel. If you're going to a party with friends, let them know you might need a short break in a quieter place at some point. If you're heading somewhere solo, know you don't have to throw yourself right into the mix. Start by sitting and watching so you can get used to the situation. Then move a little closer and look for ways to connect, says psychologist Jonathan Cheek, a professor at Wellesley College in Massachusetts. See if you can spot a few introvert. They might be off to the side too. Sometimes talking to just one person instead of a million can raise your comfort level. A pro tip for extroverts, don't take it personally if a friend wants to skip a party. Being surrounded by people might give you energy, but it literally zaps theirs. The next person says, the stress is, I have a college interview coming up and I want to nail it, but I'm so nervous. The flex, interviewing requires a combo of things you dislike, talking about yourself and thinking on your feet. So, how can you prepare? You can ask a friend or a family member to mock interview you. Let the stammer stage happen when you're with somebody who can laugh with you about it, says Lori Helog. She's the author of Introvert Power, Why Your Inner Life is Your Hidden Strength. If you're still struggling when it's game time, try this stalling tactic. Tell the interview, That's a good question. Let me think about it. It will buy you a little extra time to think. A pro tip for extroverts. You will benefit from rehearsing questions and answers too. This is a situation that stresses everyone out. So I'm going to throw this in. Say it's not an interview for college. It could be a job interview. This could be a speech and you're uncomfortable. What you always need to do, speeches, interviews, you do need to do a mock-up. And if all it is you practicing in front of a mirror, that will help you. These videos, I have redone a couple of them 2 times, 3 times, because this is new to me and I am not comfortable with it. So I have had to do a mock-up, just like if you guys are doing a job interview. All right, let's look at the last one over then. Slide on over with me to page 15. We'll come back and get the last one on the bottom. The stress. I've heard that some kids in my class think I'm snobby or rude. How can I let them know I'm just reserved? And reserved is I hold back just a little bit. I'm not real comfortable jumping right into a conversation. And they also, we would consider them an introvert. The flex, a friendly smile and a hi when you see people in the hallway or anywhere are a great start. But if you really want to change people's perceptions, you have to push yourself to chat them up. Have some go-to questions ready for the next time you're with someone you don't know well. What are you doing over spring break? Are you ready for this quiz? People love to talk about themselves, so the conversation will be easier than you think. And a perception is how I see things. This is my opinion, my understanding. And a pro tip for extroverts, don't just assume someone is standoffish or rude. Try saying hi. You might actually make a quiet and observant friend who balances your personality well. Let's catch the bottom of 14, the stress. My teacher grades us on class participation, but I have a hard time speaking up. The flex. The truth is, you probably just need a little extra time to think things through before you jump into a discussion. So talk to your teacher one-on-one to let them know you're having a hard time. You could even offer up alternative ways to show you're engaged in class discussions, like emailing questions ahead of class or having regular meetings with your teacher to discuss the material. Participating doesn't have to mean doing it the extroverted way. Pro tip for extroverts, speaking up isn't easy for everyone. So if you're working on, say, a group project, try to not dominate the conversation. Make sure you're having other kids have a chance at contributing. Now over to the yellow bar in 15. Looks like this. The perfect balance. Texas teens Davy and Liam, they're both 13. They talk about how they are friends despite having very different personalities. And I'm going to throw in here, a lot of times we hear opposites attract. Sometimes in friendships that is true. Sometimes in some relationships that is true. And so we have Davy, and he said, Liam and I became friends last year. I knew who he was. We're both in band, but I'd never talked to him. And Liam says, I thought Davy was really funny. He would tell jokes in class. I didn't think we'd become friends, though. We have pretty different personalities. Davy responds, one day, I was sitting next to Liam in the study hall and just started talking to him. I found out we both like watching sports and a lot of the same movies. Liam, it was like we had been friends for a while. Davy makes me feel so comfortable. Davy says at lunch, Liam always talks, but in class, he only talks when the teacher calls on him. Liam says, I'm less reserved in smaller groups. No one tries to take over the conversation. In larger groups, I get lost. Davy says, for group projects, we always choose each other. Liam says, Davy is more of a presenter, a front person who throws out ideas. I'm a builder, a writer, a behind-the-scenes person. We're a good team. Davy says, we both joined marching band this year. Liam didn't want to do it at first. Liam says, it was a bunch of people I didn't know, but I felt better taking a chance because we were doing it together. Davy, on weekends, we usually do things with friends in a small group. Sometimes Liam might be off by himself, but it's not because we're leaving him out. Liam responds, I like to be alone and quiet. It helps me recharge. Davy says, at first I didn't get it, but now I understand. Liam, I like having time to think about things. Davy responds, before I talk to Liam, I only really talk to people like me. Now I've learned not to judge a book by its cover. And lastly, Liam says, and I'm actually more comfortable around extroverted people. Then I don't have to talk so much. And so I'm going to go back to their group project. Davy loves to be up front. He can talk. He can talk in small groups. He can talk in big groups. He does not being up front and center. And Liam says, I'll do all the hard work behind. I'll be the one maybe constructing the project. Maybe I'm the one building the Google Doc or the Google slide. I'm behind the scenes, and Davy will go and present what I have designed. I want to thank you for listening. I will be calling in later to see if there are any questions you have regarding this reading today and the assignment that goes with it. You will now be given a quiz, our guide to being an extrovert, and the other side is all about the vocabulary. And I believe I have defined the vocabulary so that you can complete the activity. And hope you all are doing well. And I will see you again tomorrow.